Aries, welcome back. I am so sorry about your earlier video. Um, Recorded the whole thing, and apparently the sound wasn't picking up for some reason. I can hear it when I go to full volume, but still mumbling, and you can't really make it out. So we're going to do a new reading for April for you, because I'm going to take that technical failure on my part as a sign that I didn't quite get it right, that I didn't get the message that was meant to come out for you. So Aries, this is your April monthly reading, and it is for Aries placement Sun, Moon, or Rising. It is a general reading, and let's see what we have for you. We're using 3 decks today. We're using the Radiant Wise. That's what this one is. Starting out with that, and then we'll do some clarifying cards from the Line Strider Tarot and the White Sage Tarot. Let's see. Give you a better view here. Need a few more cards for you, Aries. I hope that you are well. Definitely the energy feels better in this reading than it did on the first one. I do remember when I sat down to do your reading a couple days ago, I was having a difficult time tuning in with spirit. Everything felt very muddy. There's a lot of energy in the air right now, a lot of people with worries and concerns. And as an empath, I tend to pick that up, and it can sometimes cloud things for me. So I think we are a little bit better placed today, and hopefully this reading will be helpful for you. One more card. One more card, Spirit, for Aries for the month of April. For our birthday babies. There we go. All right, let's see what we have for you, Aries. I did check to make sure this was recording sound before I sat down to the full read. Don't want to make the same mistake twice. What do we have? Let me take a look here. Not too much glare there. That's good. Some interesting cards for you this week, this month. I'm just going to dive in. I'm not real sure. I'm not getting a solid overall read here. Except new beginnings. I do sense that there's something fresh and new coming your way. So the Moon card coming right out there is not unexpected. Right now there is a lot of confusion. There is a lot of unknown. And the Moon card captures that feeling of not being able to see too far in front of you. You know, in the darkness it's difficult, but with the moonlight you can see a bit further. With your intuition coming online this month, I think that will help you a little bit, but it's a difficult time for Aries. Your sign generally is a sign of action, doing, being, I am, asserting yourself and the existence of you in this world. And that can be challenging when your physical movement is constrained, as it is for so many of us right now. There are ways, of course, to assert yourself electronically. It doesn't quite feel the same to you, and I think there is a bit of a challenge here. But you're getting through it. You are urged to have some self-compassion right now, where you might be more demanding of yourself generally. In your day-to-day and what you expect yourself to achieve. Be a bit kind now and give yourself the grace of a bit of a relaxed expectation with regard to your productivity. This is what I was seeing, your new beginnings. The Fool card. It's taking a leap of faith. It's stepping off the edge blindly, just believing fully in your heart that everything will work out, that you are going where you're meant to go, that you will have what you're meant to have. And it is quite an exciting energy of opportunity, and it pairs well with this not being able to see too far ahead of you. Right now you might not feel really sure about where your path is leading, but there is space here for you to have an optimism, a fresh hope about where your path goes from here. The Six of Cups is about nostalgia. It's remembering happy times, perhaps remembering your childhood, perhaps remembering earlier times that made you really happy. You may find yourself doing that a fair amount now. When your physical movement is limited, your mind still can travel to many interesting places. Um, this is the line that gets a little confusing for me. So we have here conflict. Conflict and um, sort of a rejection of desire. Your It seems that you're, and this is not the way I read for everyone, it's just what I'm picking up right now in this context, but it seems that in a connection with another that is of a physical nature, um, there's some conflict right now. You're not having your need met, and it's making you feel less interested in the connection. This could be someone who had started a physical relationship with somebody shortly before all of these quarantine orders came down, and now you can't see that person. And because your connection with them was so new and was so based on the physical, um, there's some tension there. There's some not not all out fighting, but like little disagreements going on in your communication right now. There's some tension, some unpleasantness, and you feel like this person has shut you out, and it's not really fair because right now, um, many people are sheltering at home, shelter in place in some states, and then in other places around the world, there's, a little bit more freedom of movement, and you may be asking somebody to come see you and they're refusing. Um, and, no harm, no foul to you, but there's a really good reason for this person to be refusing your request. I think it's causing conflict that they won't come to see you, but they may have people in their life that they're trying to protect by keeping themselves completely isolated right now so that they don't um, go out into the world at all. And you don't like that because you want them with you. You want them physically with you. And you're not getting what you want right now, so you're feeling very hurt, very personally offended. Try to sit with that feeling and try to understand from a different perspective. Try to see it from this other person's point of view. It could be that this isn't about a relationship, but it's about a project that you are working on creatively. And in that case, you're still in the same sort of emotional space, mental space. You're feeling shut out from an opportunity. You're feeling cut off from something that you want or need. And it is not helpful to you to stay in that mental space. This is the situation that you find yourself in, and this is the situation that will remain for some time. So it would be most helpful for you to try to find a way to see it from different angles, to try to find the positive. I know that sounds completely ridiculous to you right now. I can feel the pushback on that instantly. But try to see if you can look at your situation in some other way. Perhaps this person that you had just a physical relationship with, now you have an opportunity to know them better, to appreciate them from a different angle. Or maybe you know that all you feel for this person is a physical attraction, and that in itself is a very important message about how you choose to spend your time. Do you want to continue something just for one aspect of a connection? I think that this Seven of Swords here goes along with this. You feel like people are keeping information from you. You feel like someone isn't being honest with you. If you are being rejected when you ask someone to come see you, you're personally thinking that they're lying to you and that there are reasons other than the ones they're giving you for why. I don't really have a read on that, whether that's just your perception or if there is in fact some deception here. But my tendency with all these other cards here is to believe that this is your mental state. This is where you're at right now. And a lot of that is a reaction to being tethered, to being required to stay where you are. You don't like that. You don't like the constriction on your movement through the world, and your control over your life feels threatened by being told to stay in one place. It's really hard for an Aries, I think, right now to stay in one place like this and to just be with themselves alone mentally. But it is something you're absolutely capable of handling. And I do think, more than anything, this is speaking to the rest of this, the mental state, not necessarily a situation where you are being deceived. Let's take some clarifying cards here and see what else we can get for Aries for April. Any further clarification for Aries for April? That was quite a bit, actually. Let's see. Finish the shuffle. That one definitely wanted to come out. So, strong feminine energy here of creation, of control, of mastery, I should say, not control. This came out pretty quickly. 5 of Swords. The 5 energy is this sort of like in-between space, this waiting, this kind of exhausted energy of the journey, the middle point of the journey, right? You have that energy at the beginning of a journey and excitement at the end of the journey, but in the middle there can be some challenges. And in the 5 here, we see somebody who is exhausted. They've been battling and they're not really sure if what they've been battling for is worth the effort or not. There can be an aspect to this card of winning at all costs. I don't really feel that today. What I feel more is a mental exhaustion, that you're running yourself in circles mentally because you are in a state of frustration, that you're restricted and that you can't move as much as you want, that you can't have what you want, that this person won't come to you, or that this project has been put on hold, that you want. You want to be out there. You want to be doing. You want to be engaging. You want people to be responding. And it's all delayed right now. Everything's slowed down, and it's really frustrating the hell out of you. The 8 of Swords came out next. 9 of Wands. Queen of Cups in reverse. You have the Queen of Cups here as well. When a card comes out twice in a reading, which it seems to have done quite a bit this month for people, I see it as a focal point. And here we have a Queen of Cups in the upright, Queen of Cups in the reverse. And what that's telling me is, you know, you need to be more compassionate to yourself. You know this is a time when there's really not much you can do about it. You need to be patient and you need to take care of yourself. And yet your mind is spinning out. And you're not always being very kind to yourself. You're berating yourself. You're not treating yourself well. You're not getting enough sleep, eating healthy food. You're letting yourself fall into some patterns that aren't really supporting you, because these are the crutches that we fall back to. We all have these things that we do when we feel stressed. And right now, you don't have your normal way of breaking these patterns when you start to fall back into a bad habit is to get yourself up and to move and to get out. And you don't feel like you can do that right now. There's not a really good outlet for you to turn your mental process around. And so you're going back and forth between, I will be kind to myself, I'll get some more sleep tonight, and I don't deserve to be kind to myself. You're kind of going back and forth on this as far as taking care of you right now. You do see toward the end of the month that you could use this time to make plans. Your project, if this is a project, yes, it is delayed, but that doesn't mean it's over. And maybe there's another project that you could get started on while you're waiting to progress this one further. There are ways you can move. As I said, in your mind, you can go places. You can watch travel videos that might help you. In your creative projects, you can create entire new worlds. You can plan. These are ways you can move without physically moving, that will distract your mind from falling into these cyclical negative interpretations, right? 8 of Swords is an energy of holding yourself captive, and that could be in the situation where you just are stuck in this mental pattern of cycling back and forth through the negatives until they get more and more negative. If you can break yourself out of that self-created prison, by getting some movement. I mean, even if you're stuck in a small apartment, you can still do some physical movement. You can still do some mental visualization. You can write. you could play a video game that takes you to another world. Something that allows your mind to feel motion would really be helpful for you right now. This Nine of Wands, this is a tenacious energy. I know you have it in you to stick with whatever you put your mind to, and to really fight every battle that comes your way. You're still capable of that, even though you're not physically moving right now. You may be someone who is quite used to achieving. Every day you achieve. Every day you find something new you can work on, that you can achieve. And right now you feel thwarted and stuck and like a caged animal in some respect. But you still have the same abilities you've always had. You just need to find another way to employ them, is basically what I see there. Let's see if there are any other clarifying cards for Aries. Further clarifying cards for Aries. Just saw 1555 on the screen. 555 there. For those of you that are into numerology, that's an excellent number for new beginnings for you. And it came out, Five of Wands popped out exactly at that time. So 4 fives. I don't know exactly what 4 fives would mean, but the 3 fives are fresh new beginnings, new starts, better direction. 7 of Wands coming out. These both are in reverse. And they're both about passion, creative energy, spark. Yeah, you feel really kind of a little stuck with regard to creative passion pursuit right now. This 5 of Wands in reverse, same. This was the 5 of Wands in the upright. Again, a double occurrence of a card is significant in these monthly readings. So there's conflict, and then there's a desire to be free of conflict. And the 7 of Wands in reverse, you're feeling maybe toward the end of the month you're starting to see that it's not a situation where you have to fight all on your own here. Because this line here we were looking at, this is someone who feels really betrayed, left out, hurt, attacked, offended, like everyone is against me, kind of this is all, everything that's happening, it's specifically targeted at me. And I see that sort of toward the end here of the month, you start to realize it's not all about you. And I don't say this to be harsh in any way to the Aries, but Aries energy is very much that self-assertion, right? I am, I exist, and the world does revolve around me, because it's that very first sign of the zodiac. It is the assertion of self. And so to some extent that's just who you are, to believe that the entire world is here for you. And there's not anything wrong with that. And I know that society generally will see that as selfish, in a bad way. We've come to think the word selfish is a bad word, but it's not. You need to look out for self, and an Aries understands that. And so you do take it personally. Everything. You take everything personally because it's all about you. Of course it is. That's just the energy of Aries. And it is, this sort of quick to temper kind of energy of Mars. The Mars energy is very powerful, and it's all here in Aries. And so this is frustrating for you, because this month is teaching you it isn't. Sometimes it isn't all about you. All of this you're taking personally. It's hurting you to take it personally. But if you can step back and see that in fact it isn't, even though there's such a strong tendency to believe as an Aries that it is all about you. And again, I don't say that in a negative way, because that's your energy. That's your pure nature. But when you are able to step back and see it from the perspective of a different sign, if I weren't an Aries, would I be taking this also personally? You'll see toward the end of the month, after some careful reflection throughout this long month of April, that you aren't alone. And it isn't directed at you. No one's trying to personally hurt you. It isn't about that. It's a really tough time for everyone. There are some significant mental health challenges to the current situation we find ourselves in, which is absolutely unprecedented. There are some people that will manage it better, those who have been in confinement, those who have had home situations that felt like being in confinement. But for most of us, it's really new, and especially in the United States and in Canada, and these places where we've had freedom of movement all our whole lives, to be told not to move. There is a sort of a trauma in there. And for some people, for many people, it's the first they've ever had in their life. Bless them. They've not had to deal. And it can be really difficult to process all of that. So you aren't alone in feeling trapped or in feeling constricted. And it is completely natural as an Aries that you would be taking it personally. But I think that as the month progresses, you start to realize it isn't personal, and that makes you feel better. So what do I see overall here? I see someone who is struggling to be kind to themselves, is really taking, delays or, people setting their own boundaries around you for their safety, for the safety of their families. You're taking a lot of this personally, but I think that toward the end of the month you start to realize it isn't personal, and no one's out to get you, and no one's intentionally lying to you, and no one's intentionally tanking your projects. Everybody's just trying to get by and do the best they can with the situation, including you. So be kind to yourself, okay? And I do think that toward the end of April, you start to be able to make some plans for movement again. Maybe not immediately, but you're able to see that there will be a time when you can go out and do and be and assert your Aries self again. So I think that's what I have for you. I am, again, so sorry that the recording is, the first one didn't have the sound, and so we had a delay in getting you your monthly, but that's what I have. I encourage your feedback if it resonated for you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here. Again, thank you for your kindness and patience as I recorded the second one here for you. And we'll see you next time. Be well. Blessings.